Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bydmoc podcast. Now, back in 2013, I missed the initial hype train, but Frozen was absolutely everywhere. Snippets of the conversation surrounding the movie still echo in my head. A return to the Disney Renaissance, the best soundtrack since Lion King. And then, of course, there was the constant playing of Let It Go. Sure, I heard Do You Want to Build a Snowman a good number of times as well, but Let It Go was something different entirely. Grocery stores, clothing stores, radio, commercials, it was everywhere. I mean, even years later, they put a faithful recreation of the number into a long-awaited video game. Now, that's not to say it wasn't deserved. I'm not the biggest fan of the Frozen soundtrack as a whole, but even so, I cannot deny that Let It Go is a great addition to the Disney discography. It's well written, it's got a catchy tune, and of course, it's performed by the amazing Adele Dazeem. I said I'm not the biggest fan of the Frozen soundtrack, and the same goes for the sequel, but there are 3 songs between the 2 movies that I feel form their own trilogy, which not only overshadows a majority of the Disney discography, but also represents one of, if not the best character arcs in all of the Disney canon. Let It Go, Into the Unknown, and Show Yourself are all songs which show the progression of Elsa's character, and while each one is terrific on its own, the thing that makes me truly appreciate these songs is how they lead into, build upon, and recontextualize each other. In all honesty, you could remove the rest of the movies. Simply play these songs for me, and I would argue that it makes for a more concise and compelling narrative. Before we get going though, I want to make it very clear that I'm in no way an expert on this subject. I didn't go to school, I've never taken any courses on music or writing of any kind, I am completely unqualified, and I have not read any interviews regarding the making of these songs. What I'll be saying is simply how I, as a general member of the audience, see these songs and what I personally take from them. With that in mind, let's get started. Let It Go was hyped up as a song about empowerment and being free to be yourself, and if things had been left at just one movie, I might have agreed, but now that we know how the story actually progresses, I see it very differently. Let's take a look at the lyrics. I mean, it starts simple enough. Don't let them in, don't let them see. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. Well, now they know. Now this part is very straightforward. I mean, being afraid of people seeing the real us is something that most of us go through, and as the intro to the song, it's really just setting the stage and letting the audience know that the following is in regards to what comes after people see that actual inner secret that Elsa is supposedly hiding. I'm not going to go through every line, but there are some key things I'd actually like to point out. As opposed to being a song about Elsa embracing who she is, this is a song about Elsa bragging about what makes her different. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits and break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. It's also about Elsa feigning confidence in who she is. She claims multiple times, the cold never bothered me anyway. She even continues to hide her own doubts and emotions by saying, "You'll never see me cry." The most important takeaway, though, is the way that Elsa views her own journey at this point. Turn away and slam the door. I'm never going back. The past is in the past. Elsa is focused on where she is in the present moment, but is failing to acknowledge the path that led her there. This can also be seen in the line, "Here I stand and here I stay," which has a very strong emphasis on the word here, meaning that it's being really emphasized that she's focusing on the present and definitely not the past or even the future of where this path is going to take her. This is probably the most simplistic of the 3 to decipher, but it's actually the most important to understanding this trilogy and how it all works together. In this song, Elsa is hearing a voice calling out to her, and this voice reveals her main concerns going into the second movie. Are you someone out there who's a little bit like me? who knows deep down I'm not where I'm meant to be. Elsa realizes that she has not yet fully accepted who she is, and it's for another simple yet relatable reason. Everyone I've ever loved is here within these walls. I'm afraid of what I'm risking if I follow you into the unknown. I think most of us have felt something like this before. We have a tendency to become comfortable in the life we know, and the idea of anything changing can be terrifying to the point where we can sometimes just settle for living with partial lies just to avoid the potential risk of losing what and or who we currently have. What's really important to take away from this is that this song is just setting up the fact that Elsa still has concerns, and she's not yet at that point where she's fully embracing who she is. Show Yourself begins with Elsa searching for the voice that she started hearing in Into the Unknown at the beginning of Frozen 2. It ends with the revelation that the voice is that of Elsa's mother, but that the person Elsa was really looking for was actually herself. Show Yourself manages to make callbacks to Elsa's entire journey, but it does so in a way that makes you rethink what came before. Every inch of me is trembling, but not from the cold. Reveals that the cold never bothered me anyway was simply posturing. I mean, why would she even say every inch of me is trembling, but not from the cold, if not to imply that she does tremble as a result of the cold? So it shows that Let It Go was just her trying to seem more confident and more in control than she actually was. The most obvious callback is the same melody from Into the Unknown as the voice of her mother leads Elsa further. Where the north wind meets the sea, there's a river full of memory. This is a lullaby that we see in the beginning of Frozen 2 that was sung to Elsa as a child. Come to me now, open your door. This is a direct call that Elsa makes to herself in order to reverse her own decision to slam the door in Let It Go. My personal favorite, though, has to be Here I Am, I've Come So Far, which mirrors Here I Stand and Here I Stay. While in Let It Go, the emphasis is on the word here. In this song, it's a lot smoother and the words actually flow into each other, showing that Elsa is looking at her entire journey and is no longer focused on only one moment. She's looking at the full picture of what's going on and what she's been through. Overall, Show Yourself is easily my favorite song from both movies. Now, at surface level, these songs tell the story of Elsa embracing her powers and becoming a spirit of nature, which, let's face it, most of us can't relate to this. When you take a step back and remove the more fantastical, magical, and, well, unrealistic elements of the story, these songs tell a tale of a character coming to terms and accepting themselves, which I feel we can all relate to. Let It Go is what many people experience in high school. We latch on to the idea of what makes us unique in the present, and it's very easy to lean on one trait as our full personality. One unique trait does not define you as a person, though. And as time moves forward, we start to learn a little bit more about ourselves. We build our lives up and we get to Into the Unknown, where we feel scared of the risks associated with accepting the changes we experience while further discovering who we are as individuals. We can feel that we're not truly showing our true selves, but in our 20s, we're also scared of losing the lives we've been building up since high school and college. Eventually, you have to concede and show yourself, not only to others, but also to yourself. The only way to truly come to terms with who you are is to accept not only where you currently are, but also the paths that led to this point. Some of these concepts might be a little bit more subtle in these songs, but after looking at the lyrics and listening to them back to back, it's very easy to see this narrative. There are even some things that I haven't mentioned. For example, the idea that your parents play a crucial role in who you are. This can be seen in the fact that through the entirety of Frozen 2, Elsa is following the voice of her mother, and at the end in Show Yourself, when she finally discovers who she is, she uses that same melody. This is stuff that carries over from her mother, and it leads to her becoming who she is. Not directly the same person, but it's an influence, and in order to really discover who who you are, you need to really take a look at the whole picture and embrace all of those influences.